I was asked as to why I'm putting together these conversations about such delicate and incendiary topics. And the truth is, I've been frustrated watching the news and reading the newspaper about the lack of candor and balance in discussing these issues that affect us all. It's important to maybe inject some light into these large conversations. I am Matthew Mitchell. Welcome to Provocative Conversations. Charles, I'd like to start, and I wanted to share a couple things with you. You know, I was raised in a very progressive home. Mm-hmm. My parents were very educated, progressive values. Women and gays and blacks and every person that struggled, Native Americans, those are the values that I was instilled with. And you can imagine my surprise when I realized that I was holding some pretty substantial racist beliefs around my black brothers and sisters. And that was disconcerting to me. I don't think I'm unusual in that way. I think a lot of people who are well-intentioned are holding some unconscious beliefs in this area. And what I really appreciate about our friendship over the years is that I've had a chance to look at that through you. I mean, it wasn't always fun and it wasn't always pretty, but we had intense discussions. And I've come to a different place now. And so I guess what I'd like to start is, where do you see, and we're going to talk honestly first about maybe what the white community needs to do to kind of step up and be a partner in this. And then after we honor that completely, we'll talk about maybe what the black community can do as well, because I do believe that there has not been enough discussion on the contribution the black community can make to its own elevation, liberation, that kind of thing. Sure. And I want you just to share, as far as, again, I know this is delicate, but what is one of the more frustrating aspects that the white communities doesn't get? They don't necessarily see it in a way that you think is balanced or appropriate. And I realize that's a delicate question, but do the best you can with that.
Well, can you be more specific? I mean,
yes. Yeah. Let me just share something personal
Sure.
with you. So, very much like the conversation we had between men and women, I used to look at the black community and say, hey man, this is America. We're a free country. You have the right to go to public school and get a college education and improve yourself. And why all this fuss? Why are we always talking about your plight and your struggle? And I just thought it was annoying. And I was tired of seeing black people marginalized. I was tired of seeing them get beaten up on television by police officers. I said, why can't you just elevate yourself and move into a different way of being? And of course, a lot of black people have. There's a long list. President Barack Obama. He led the highest station in the land. So I really thought that we were on a good track, and yet what was interesting to me, and this is just my opinion, that the tension between black and white got even more intense during and after Barack Obama. And my opinion on that is that there was a portion of the black community that said, wow, look what he did. And they had a chance to see where they were and their station in life and their income and their quality of life. They said, no, this is unsatisfying. I have settled for too long, and now they want more for themselves, and I think that's probably a healthy thing.
But I think really what happened during Barack Obama's presidency is that the white community got more polarized. I think they actually were more threatened, whether it's conscious or unconscious. I think they felt more insecure around having a black president. I mean, for blacks, we just thought, he's here to serve. He's going to do the right thing for everybody. He said himself, I'm everybody's president. I'm not just the blacks, for the blacks or the white. So I think what happened was whites got more threatened, and that created more of a polarization. I've heard that, it's said that it's because of basically a blacklash,
A blacklash.
It's like a reaction to what, the President Obama. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I think that's created more of a polarity. And of course, the current president seems to he understands that, and he feeds on it, and he actually uses it to create more division and more separation. So, it's interesting that it's ironic that after having a black president, we have more of a division instead of more of a unity. And I think that really speaks to this unconscious racism that still exists in the white community.
I think you may have a good point. Let me just delve into something that I think a lot of people might be uncomfortable with, but it's important we look at it. And the history of the Jewish people is filled with persecution and enslavement and genocide. And to say that didn't leave a mark in the psyche of the Jewish people would be naive. We had generations of slavery in this country. People taken against their will across the ocean and enslaved. There was generations of lynching.
Mm-hmm.
And men, women, and children were murdered in these lynching campaigns. And it happened in almost every state in the Union, obviously predominantly in the South, but it wasn't confined just to the South.
Sure.
So the combination of the generations of slavery, followed by the generations of lynching, it left a huge mark in the mind and spirit of the black community. And for white people to say, get over it, there hasn't been slavery here and forever, I think is self-serving and short-sighted. And since we are the ones that brought them against their will here and then employed them for our own purposes, we can't just discard them. The analogy would be sending a soldier to Vietnam, exposing him to Agent Orange or depleted uranium, having him come back with all his problems, saying, no, war's over, deal with it. It's not responsible. So I think there is a part of the white community that wants to say enough is enough, it's been too long, but it hasn't been too long. There are still effects that are here today, and I think they have to acknowledge that.
Yeah, but I mean, we see this in the media all the time. I mean, when you have a white police officer walk into a black man's apartment thinking that it's her own and she kills him. I mean, you know, when blacks see that, they think, oh my God, it's like, you know, we realize that this thing is still really alive and active. And, you know, and the question is, what's going to heal that? You know, I don't know if there's an easy answer. You know, having a black president certainly didn't heal it. It just kind of intensified it in some ways. I mean, you know, we still see racial profiling, and in some ways it seems to have gotten, at least recently, a little more extreme. You know, it kind of goes back and forth. It seems like it goes to one extreme, then it calms down a bit, but you think it's kind of gone away, and it hasn't. So, you know, I'm not sure what the answer to that is, but you know, it's still an issue.